Nice to meet you officially.
You as well.
Hi, everyone. Hey. Welcome, Unlock Community. We have Mike with us today. Mike, how do you say your last name? I've never known. Gatteri.
Yep.
We have Mike Gatteri. He has been our family's health insurance provider, broker, for the past 3 years now. I think we've been together, coming up on 4.
Yep.
So you specifically focus on health insurance for entrepreneurs. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. Health, life, disability. I always like to say we'll insure you from head to toe. We don't want to insure your house, your car, your stuff. We just insure people.
Nice. So we have here a community of entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, people who don't understand, maybe they are already off market healthcare provider, but a lot of people have W-2s still, or their health insurance is through their provider. So we don't even know what the options are if you were to make that leap. And it's something that I hear people say all the time. Oh, well, I can't quit because I have health insurance. I have health insurance through my job. So I kind of want you to highlight what the process is like, compare different plans. I have some questions, but just show people it's really not as scary to go outside of your employer as people think it is.
Yeah. My biggest suggestion is don't be afraid to make the leap if it's because of health insurance, because it's not as bad as people think.
It's really not. So yeah, we'll talk about it. So why don't you introduce yourself and what you guys do?
Yeah. So again, my name is Mike Gatteri. I work with an organization called HealthMarkets. We represent over 200 different insurance companies in the health insurance space. So again, health insurance, life insurance, disability, Medicare, we do it all. I think the important takeaway there is the 200 carriers, because we're never going to sell you Medical Mutual. We're never going to sell you Blue Cross and Blue Shield. We're going to consult. We're going to educate. We're going to find the best plan for you in your particular situation for that year. And we're always going to make sure that you're up to date as to what's happening in the industry. Because, of course, with health insurance being a political hot potato anymore, the industry changes significantly from year to year. And we are going to make sure that our customers are kept on top of the changes that are happening in the industry every single year. So you're in the best plan every single year.
Nice. Okay. So, you're saying 200 providers, best plan. Like, what are some high level options that an entrepreneur could choose from?
Yeah. So if you're becoming self-employed, or if you need to buy your own coverage, there's really 3 different ways that you're going to get coverage. You're either going to get it through the marketplace. Okay. You're going to get what's called a short-term or an indemnity plan. Okay. Or you're going to get one of these faith-based options, one of these share plans where all the Christians pool their money together and collectively have a fund in order to pay claims. Now, all 3 of those options have a very distinct upside. All 3 of those options have a very distinct downside. And so you just need to find the plan that has the upside that you like with the downside that you can tolerate.
Okay. What just high level, I think it would probably be most common that people pick the first 2, one of the first 2.
If I would say 95% of my customers are on the first 2 options.
Yeah. So if we were to pick the marketplace versus, what was option 2?
Short-term or indemnity plan.
And that's what we have, right?
Right. Yep.
See, y'all, this is my point, is I don't have to know all of this because I have an expert who's in my corner, right? So I don't even know what plan I have. He just says, you ask me the questions. This is best for you. If I want to know more, I absolutely could learn, but I don't care that much. So if you tell me it's the best, it's the best. So of short term and of the marketplace, what's the pro and the con of each?
Yeah. So the upside of the marketplace is that every marketplace plan must cover preventative care. So your yearly physicals, your mental health, your substance abuse, maternity.
Okay.
And the big one, pre-existing conditions.
Okay.
But because of the fact that a marketplace plan covers all of those things, a marketplace plan is the more expensive of the 2 options. And if you make an income that's low enough to qualify for government subsidies, then the marketplace becomes affordable, hence the Affordable Care Act. But if you're an entrepreneur, and hopefully a successful entrepreneur, and therefore you're making a high enough income to where you don't qualify for those government subsidies, you are ultimately paying for maternity and contraception and mental health and substance abuse and pre-existing conditions that you may not need.
Right.
And so I'll just use myself as an example. I'm a healthy individual. I don't go for my yearly checkup. I know I should, but I don't go for my yearly checkup. And I make more than the threshold to qualify for government subsidies. So I don't have a marketplace plan. But if you're an aspiring entrepreneur and your income is still low enough to where you can qualify for government subsidies, I have customers where the government pays 100% of their insurance and their monthly premium is zero. I have other customers where the government's paying 75, 80% of their premium and they're paying 20, 30 bucks a month. And until their business gets off the ground, then their premium goes up.
So it's income based to determine if you would get any coverage on the marketplace.
Correct.
Is it income based on like the previous year's taxes?
No, it's always forecasting the year forward. So as we're wrapping up 2024's open enrollment, it is based on your 2024 income, which I know is a tough thing to predict for entrepreneurs. But yes, at the end of the day, with the marketplace for your 24 plan, you're predicting your 24 income.
Okay. And maybe this is very specific, but you know, what says, like, why couldn't I just make 50K next year on paper? You know, like, is someone checking?
Absolutely. So it's all done through the government. It's all done through the IRS. So if you tell me you're going to make 50 grand next year, okay, fine, no problem. We'll put that down. But then when you make 150 grand next year, the government's going to say, wait a minute, we gave you subsidies based on 50,000. You owe us money back.
Okay, so I wanted to address the elephant in the room because everyone's here going, wait, well, you know, no one's checking. Like, yeah, I made 20K. So, okay, good to know. So they are checking a prediction going forward. That's interesting. And so if you are on the short-term plan, is that income-based as well?
So no, if you go with one of these short-term or indemnity plans, it is not income-based. So who is the short-term plan good for? If you don't have pre-existing conditions, if you're not looking to get pregnant, if you're okay paying for your yearly physical out of pocket, then a short-term plan might be a great option for you as long as your income's high enough to where you're not qualifying for government subsidies.
Okay.
Because if we look at an unsubsidized short-term plan and an unsubsidized marketplace plan, the marketplace plans are going to be 2 to 3 times more expensive. And so even for those people who go and get their yearly physical, if you can cut your premium in half or cut your premium by 2/3, would you pay for your physical out of pocket?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. And I've heard of the short-term plans kind of being nicknamed like a catastrophe plan. Yeah. Talk to me about that.
Well, honestly, the marketplace is kind of a new concept because if you think of your homeowner's insurance, it doesn't cover your air filters and the maintenance to your house. Your auto insurance doesn't cover your tire rotation and the maintenance to your car. Health insurance covering the maintenance to you is a relatively new concept. Every other insurance that we buy is intended to just cover the big stuff.
I haven't heard of it.
How health insurance was started.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard of it put that way, but that makes so much sense. Yeah, there's never been, no insurance covers wear and tear or maintenance.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And so if you buy your health insurance to just cover the big stuff, you can get your cost way, way down.
Is there any penalty to having a short-term plan by not being on the marketplace?
No, not anymore. So President Trump back in 2018, I believe it was, signed something saying that the penalty, I guess let me rephrase. There is a penalty, but the penalty is 0.0% of your income.
Cool. I'll take it.
So, yes, technically there is a penalty, but there is no number associated to it. So don't get me wrong. Is it possible that a new or future president could change that? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But as it sits now, the penalty is 0.0% of your income.
Okay. Okay. So when, say, you know, a new client comes to you and they say, hey, Mike, like, what are my options? I know with us, you had the same conversation. We narrowed it down. What questions do you ask? What do you look for? What does the process look like for a new client onboarding?
Great question. So we spend about 45 minutes to an hour with every new customer. The first 15 to 20 minutes of that is just me asking a bunch of questions to learn about your situation. How many people need coverage? What medications do you take? What doctors do you see so we can make sure that they're in network? How many times in a normal year are you going to the doctor, and for what? Do you have anything upcoming in the future? Any surgeries that are pending or chronic conditions that are lingering? Do you go twice a year for dental cleanings to see if dental makes sense? And then the big one is, if you had that, and pardon my language, but if you had that oh shit moment and you couldn't work for the next 6 months, what would happen to you financially? Because that's the other part of this, is so many people think about the direct cost of their health insurance, but it's actually the indirect costs that are far more damaging. What I mean by that is, if you have that heart attack and you can't work for the next 6 months, what's going to happen to your business that you've worked so hard to establish? If you have cancer and you can't leave the house because you're going through chemo on a weekly basis, what's going to happen to your business? And so we not only try to help customers get the medical expenses taken care of, but to make sure that they don't fall behind financially when that medical event happens.
Do we have that? Are you looking at that for us? Okay, cool, good. Nice. Okay. So then open enrollment is happening now. What is open enrollment? Why does it matter? And what happens outside of this time period?
Yeah, so open enrollment is specifically for people who want to buy or renew a marketplace plan.
Okay.
Anyone who wants to consider a marketplace option needs to be enrolled by December 15th, which is Friday, if they want a January 1 effective date. Another way of saying that is, if you reach out to me on Saturday, you're getting a February 1 start date on your plan. Okay. But open enrollment closes altogether on January 15th. So if you want to get a plan for 2024, your deadlines are December 15th to have a plan start on the first of the year, or January 15th if you want a plan at all. Now, if you reach out to me after January 15th, can we still get you a plan? Absolutely. We can get you a short-term plan. We can get you an indemnity plan. Or if you have what's called a life event, we can still look at the marketplace for you, but only if you have a life event can we look at a marketplace plan for you after January 15th.
So that's like switching jobs. That's one I know, like maybe having a child. What else is on there? Marriage,
divorce, you're moving across county lines, you're losing your coverage, your plan canceled you for whatever reason. So anything that impacted your ability to have coverage.
Okay. Have you seen anyone like get stuck outside of open enrollment? Because it seems you pretty much could provide an option anytime.
It's incredibly rare. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people who think they're stuck. And after 22 years in the industry, we're pretty good at finding loopholes.
Sure.
And so we can always try to create life events where it's possible. But there's certain times where people get left in the cold.
Okay. Well, it sounds rare. We're not worried. Yeah. Plus, everyone here, we're action takers. That's like what this group is about. So you got 4 days to figure it out. So take some action. Okay, well, cool. So it's super helpful so far. Even I'm learning stuff, and I've been with you for years. So can you tell us about the ability, if you have an HSA or anything like that, like how does an HSA incorporate with your healthcare?
All right, so here's one of my favorite topics. I love the HSA concept. I have an HSA personally. I fund my HSA to the max every single year. And most importantly, I never spend a penny out of my HSA.
Interesting.
So let me explain all of that and why. So HSA means health savings account. What that is nothing more than a savings account at your local bank where you can go and put money away for future medical expenses.
Okay.
But because you're putting money away for future medical expenses, the government says you can deduct that money from your income. So you can deduct, depending upon your situation, whether you're single or married, you can deduct up to potentially $8,400 a year. So for myself and my wife, I put away all $8,400 every single year into my HSA. But the beautiful thing is, not only is your HSA money tax-free going in, it can also be tax-free coming out in retirement. And so it's the only vehicle I'm aware of, and I'm not a financial planner, but it is the only vehicle I'm aware of that is tax-free both on the input and the output. So I fully fund my HSA every single year.
Okay.
I allow it to sit there and build interest, and it's in a money market account, so it's earning interest as the market goes up. And then when I retire, I also then have that money tax-free to be able to pull out on the backside. So yes, when I go to the doctor or get a script or anything like that, I pay for that money with non-HSA money so that my tax-free money can continue to grow year after year after year.
Very interesting. Okay. I didn't realize it was tax-free in and out.
Yep.
Someone's saying triple tax advantage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yep. Now,
Okay. So
here's the caveat to it. In order to
yes.
open an HSA, you have to have an HSA eligible plan. So it's called a high deductible health plan.
Okay.
And the key to an HSA eligible plan is it's not allowed to have co-pays along the way. The government says if we're allowing you to put money in an account to pay for your expenses, you can't be getting co-pays while you're using it throughout the year. So with HSA plans, typically everything is subject to your deductible other than your yearly physical. And that's the reason why they allow you to open the HSA.
I like it. The person who's chiming in, triple tax advantage, correct, all that, he's actually a financial planner. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, nice to be reinforced. Okay, so everyone open an HSA, but don't use it to actually pay for health expense. Yeah.
It's a great little way to allow your money to build and grow. And you will absolutely be glad 20, 30 years down the road.
You guys didn't know you were coming here to learn about some tax advantages. You just thought you were going to hear about health insurance.
Well, and that's the funny thing. When I started in the industry 22 years ago, I didn't ask a single question about what you made. And all I asked was about your pre-existing conditions. Now, for the most part, I ask a ton of questions about your income and very, very few questions anymore about your pre-existing conditions because the industry has changed so much.
Yeah, that's interesting. So speaking of industry changing, I did, without getting too political down any rabbit holes, I did kind of want to touch on, you mentioned this is ever changing and president to president, year to year, the laws are changing. So what's been a big change in the last year and what do you foresee going forward?
So there's actually a huge change that is supposed to come with short-term plans, as a matter of fact. So if we think of health insurance as risk, okay, your premium that you pay, the amount of insurance costs that you pay on a monthly basis is going to be determined by how many claims the insurance company pays out, right? If the insurance company is paying out more claims, your insurance is going to cost you more. Okay. Well, one of the big reasons that Obamacare costs more is because all the people with pre-existing conditions go that way. One of the reasons why short-term plans are less expensive is because all of the healthy people go that way. So the government would like it if they got more of those people off of the short-term plans that were healthy to go to the Obamacare plans. So one thing that the president is getting ready to do is to basically do away with short-term plans. He wants as many people on the marketplace as possible because in theory, if the healthy people join the marketplace, that means fewer claims will get paid out. Yeah. And over a 2 or 3 year period, it will take 2 or 3 years for this to happen, but premiums should come down.
Okay.
Now, it's going to take 2 or 3 years for that to happen, even though they're going to cancel the short-term plans in the very near future. So we have reached out to all of our clients who have short-term plans and said, hey, you better renew before this bill changes.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, there is a carrier in Ohio that's now doing a 2-year short-term plan. It's really 1 year back to back, but it allows you to do 2 years. And so that will hopefully insulate you for 2 years while the healthy people migrate to the marketplace, hopefully then bringing down the cost of the marketplace plans. So when your policy expires in 2 years, we can migrate you to the marketplace and it won't be quite as expensive.
Assuming nothing else changes between now and then.
Now in 2 years, we could very well have a different presidency who says, hey, this is a terrible idea. We want to go back to the way that it was. And literally every year we see some major wrinkle in regards to the industry.
It sounds really fun. It makes your job interesting.
And that's what I was going to say. That's why if you've not renewed your plan for 2 or 3 years, you need to, because the industry does change every single year. And the days of just kind of putting it on cruise control and forgetting about it, you can't do that anymore. And so having someone who will at least touch base with you every single year and say, yeah, you're good for another year, or maybe we should change, it is really something that all of you should have.
I think that we have like a 15-minute call every December and hey, this changed, this didn't change, still on the same policy. Yes, let's go. Something changed, let's reevaluate. So I do want to give everyone an idea. All these folks who are in their W-2s and are saying, I cannot leave because the cost of healthcare is insane. I'm going to share what we pay, but I first want Mike, clearly there's so many factors, family size, income level, all of that. So I would never ask you to give like an exact number, but like on market and short term, what are just like monthly premium costs that you see frequently, like a big range?
Yeah. So let me first start off by saying that if you work for a small employer, less than 100 employees is considered small, and you're in the state of Ohio, an individual plan is probably cheaper than your group plan, believe it or not.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. Your employer has to pay 50% of your cost, but your employer doesn't have to pay towards your spouse and kids. And so if you look at the total cost, there's a very, very good chance that an individual plan is cheaper than what your work is paying for your group plan. It's very common for us to take spouses and children off of an employer plan, leave the employee on the employer plan, and we're able to save them money that way as well. So my point is that there's a number of different ways that we can tackle this problem and still get costs down. But at the end of the day, if we just take a single individual, 30 to 50 years old, an individual plan is going to be in the neighborhood of $200 to $500 a month per person.
Okay. And
so it's not a huge cost, and that's without government subsidies.
Yeah.
So if you're getting those government subsidies, I mean, this week I've probably done 15 or 20 enrollments where people are paying less than $20 a month for their insurance once they get the government subsidies.
That's so interesting. But ideally everyone here watching, we have, strong incomes. That would be maybe not for like a successful real estate entrepreneur.
Well, but remember, this is adjusted gross. So you get to take out all your expenses, all the equipment you're buying, all the mileage you're driving, everything that brings down your taxable income, your HSA contribution, your 401k contribution, your IRA, because if you're self-employed, you're not going to have a 401k. But all of those bring down that taxable income. And so while you're getting your business started, if you're in real estate and you're buying homes or you're flipping homes and you have those expenses, it's going to go off of that adjusted number, not just the revenue side.
And that's only on the marketplace.
Correct.
Okay. Because I was like, I need to tell you my number then. Can I get a discount? Can I pay $20 a month? Okay. So then short-term plans that do not have any government subsidies. What are you kind of seeing? Maybe like a married couple, no kids.
Assuming again, they're between 30 and 50, you're looking for the two of them combined, $150 to $400 a month.
Yeah. You just got us down. We were paying $5 something with dental and vision. And that's my wife and I, no children. And this 2-year extension that we just got on, I think we're like $250 or something that for healthcare. And our deductible went down $2,500. I mean, that's crazy, right?
And this is what I say is every building or in every city, the tallest building is an insurance company. Insurance companies are good at charging you more premiums than they will ever pay out in claims. Self-insure for the small thing. And that's what corporate America loves to keep you handcuffed with is your $5 copay at your doctor and your $10 copay for your script. But you know what? That $10 script that you're getting is only $5 through GoodRx with no insurance.
Yeah. Yep.
Your copay isn't really doing you all that much. And so, okay, fine. You have a $5 copay when you go to the doctor, but you go twice a year. And your doctor office visit's probably $100 without insurance to begin with. So don't worry about the small stuff. If you can get your costs way down and you can bank that money in an HSA, you're going to be amazed at how much ahead of the game you will wind up at the end of the year. Now, don't get me wrong. All of us are going to have 1 year in the next decade where the stuff hits the fan and you say, oh man, this was a bad year. But for the majority of us on this chat, 9 out of 10 years, you're all healthy enough to where all you're using your insurance for on a typical year is doctor office visits and scripts. Get a catastrophic based plan, squirrel away the excess savings, and you'll be amazed at what your financial situation looks like 5 or 10 years down the road.
Mike, I absolutely love this because people think that, health insurance is health insurance. And when you have an advisor like yourself who has the strategy and not just, you're not just an order taker and say, you're providing strategy for your clients. And a lot of these are things that I had never thought of. It's what you've recommended for us, but I maybe didn't know the why, but it all makes complete sense.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I can help. And quite honestly, these forums are my favorite thing because I love to teach. I love to educate. I mean, health insurance is such a difficult process for so many people, and they're afraid of it. And they should be afraid of it because if you get it wrong, it can be financial ruin.
Yeah.
And so I just love to help, love to give people the right information so that they can kind of take those worries away.
Well, good. So thank you so much for being here. We're coming up on our time. How do people find you?
Yeah, so a couple different ways. First would be on the web. So HealthMarkets with an S on the end. So HealthMarkets with an S on the end.com. Actually, I'm sorry. That's the corporate site. Let me give you my direct website. HealthMarketsColumbus.com. Or phone number 614-568-1324.
Sorry, spare me. I'm putting in the chat.
614-568-1324.
Okay.
And then my direct email is just Mike.Gatteri, and that's Gatteri at HealthMarkets.com.
Okay. Going in the chat, you guys. Like I said, Mike has been writing our policies for my family for the last, I think, we're coming up on year 4 maybe. And he was a referral through the Columbus real estate community and has been writing plans for our network for 20 something years, you said?
22.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to think, but September 11th, 2001, that's the day I started.
No.
Seriously.
Well, you'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Wow. You're like, oh, crap.
It was an ominous day to start, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it turned into a beautiful career. So it wasn't, not too bad luck. But again, thank you for being here. Anyone watching live, watching the replay, feel free to reach out to Mike. Open enrollment does end, but even if you miss this round, give him a shout in the next month or so, and maybe you can still get something together, right?
So if I can just jump in with one last point.
Oh, yeah.
You don't pay a penny for me, okay? If you were to enroll in the market, same price as enrolling with me. If you go directly through the carrier, same price as enrolling with me. So even if you have a plan that you love and you want to keep it, great. We could be the servicing agent and then be able to keep you in the loop in every future year. And it wouldn't cost you a penny to have us become the agent of record for that.
Okay, there you go. So even more reasons to reach out. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We're right up on our time. And you have an awesome holidays. If I don't talk to you before then, which I hope I don't, because that would mean I had a catastrophe.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
If anyone needs help with anything, please reach out.
Okay. Bye, y'all.